Why is this happening? But of course, as time passed, we discovered that Allah had a plan. When I was 7 years old, I lost my Quran memorization competition. I didn't win anything, but I did get patience. Let me explain. Now, when I was 7 years old, my older brother Muhammad and my older sister Shireen, they won everything. If you walked into my house and if you looked above the fireplace, there would be trophy after trophy after trophy saying Muhammad and Shireen are the best. But me, nothing. And so I wanted a trophy more than anything. And at Sunday school, I finally got my chance. They were having a Quran memorization competition. It was simple. We had to memorize a surah of the Quran, to recite it without any mistakes. And if we did, well, I would finally get that trophy. We were supposed to memorize Surat Al-Jumu'ah. It was the longest 11 ayah of my life. And I remember taking this piece of paper home, going onto my bed, and every night I would recite it. And at that time, there was a tape player. You guys probably don't know what a tape player is. Kind of like a CD player. You guys probably don't know what a CD player is anyways. But just believe me when I tell you there was this cool device. I would press the play button, and every night I would recite it. I got good. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. I had it down. I remember the night before the Quran memorization competition, I go to my mom and I say, Mom, inshallah, tomorrow I'm going to bring home a trophy. And we prayed. I prayed to Allah. I said, Ya Allah, please help me win. And so the next day, I remember going into my mom's van, getting out at the masjid, going into the masjid. And when I went in, I saw all the other little boys and girls practicing. It sounded like the buzzing of bees because each one of them was practicing. And I started feeling a little bit nervous. And finally, my teacher called. Amin Asar, it is time for you to do the Quran memorization competition. It's kind of like how we sound. But anyways, when I got into her office, I was feeling nervous. My throat started to feel dry. My hands started sweating. And I started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yusabbihu lillahi ma. Yusabbihu lillahi ma. Yusabbihu. I forgot the whole thing. It was the worst. I was devastated. I remember leaving my teacher's office in tears. And when I went to my mom, I was angry and I was upset. And I said, why, Mom? I even prayed. Why is this happening to me? And my mom told me something special that day. She said, Amin, be patient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a plan, whether you know it or not. Turns out she was right. I didn't win a trophy on that day, but I got something so much better. I got the opportunity to share this story with you today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Sabur, the patient one. It means that He does everything in a measured way and only at the appropriate time. Prophet Yousef alayhi salam, he was thrown into a well by his brothers. No, I'm serious. He was actually thrown into a well. I mean, could you imagine if your brothers, they did that? Prophet Yousef alayhi salam had 11 brothers. And a time came when they went out in the woods having fun, playing a game, and they took this little brother of theirs and they threw him into the well and they left him there to die. Now imagine sitting in Prophet Yousef's alayhi salam's his shoes at that time. I was wondering why I didn't win the Quran memorization competition. Someone could ask why? Why is this happening? But of course, as time passed, we discovered that Allah had a plan. Prophet Yousef alayhi salam was saved from that well. It was a group of people that found him and they saved him. And through a long and winding and beautiful story, things completely changed. By the end of his life, this brother who had been thrown into a well and left to die became one of the most powerful men in all of Egypt. And a time came when those brothers, remember the ones who threw him into the well? They came back to Egypt, but this time they were begging for help. And Prophet Yousef alayhi salam forgave them. You see, when we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Hakim, the most wise, when we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Adal, the most just, we should have certainty that any time something happens to us, even if we don't know why, we should practice patience. Because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a reason. Now, patience doesn't mean that we sit around and do nothing at all while we wait. No, patience means that we should do everything within our own capability to help the situation and then leave the rest onto Allah. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam had a baby boy, Ismail. This was the result of all of his prayers. A time comes when Allah asks Prophet Ibrahim and his wife, Lady Hajar, and their little baby boy, Ismail, he asks them to go to a desert, a barren desert, where there is no people, where there is no water, where there is nothing in sight. And at that place, Allah asks Prophet Ibrahim to leave, to let his wife and his son stay there. Now, Lady Hajar, alone with her baby Ismail alayhi salam, they know that Allah has done this for a reason. But the baby begins to cry. And anyone who has heard the cries of a baby, you feel like you have to do something. So Lady Hajar looks and she sees that there's a mountain. She thinks, perhaps if I go to the top of the mountain, maybe I'll find some water, maybe I'll see some people, maybe I'll see something. So she doesn't walk, she runs like a disheveled woman, 4.5 football fields in the middle of this barren desert, sweat probably dripping down her face, her throat probably feeling dry and parched with the sun beating on her face. She runs, and when she gets to the top of that mountain, there is no water, there is no people, there is nothing. But she doesn't stop. Her baby is still crying. She looks to the other mountain. She thinks, maybe if I go to that mountain, maybe there will be some water, maybe there'll be something. So again, Lady Hajar, this wife of a holy prophet, she runs as fast as she can. 4.5 football fields in the middle of this barren desert, sweat dripping down her cheeks, her mouth likely feeling dry and parched. But when she gets to the top, there's no water, there's no people, there's no nothing. But does she stop? No. 7 times, back and forth, she runs. And after the 7th time, an angel comes, and underneath where her little baby boy was kicking, erupted a spring of water. Now, years later, that spring has given life to an entire city. That place that no one had ever been to before, without any people or any creatures or any water, is the place that over 1 billion Muslims turn their faces and bow towards. That place is now Mecca, the place of the Holy Kaaba. And that spring, Zamzam, it continues to flow today. When things happen to us, we must be patient. Patience means that we believe that Allah has a plan, because Allah certainly does. Now, this is the last video of the series. Earlier, I talked about my mom. I remember when my mom finally passed away. In that moment and at that time, I thought to myself, what could possibly be worse than this? Saying goodbye to her was one of the most difficult things in my life. But I know that today, the work that I am doing, my ability to serve, it all happened after her passing. And so for me, in my heart, I have certainty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a plan. And I want you to know that too. Want more? Check out noorkids.com to see our akhlaq building program. And while you're at it, give this video a like and smash that subscribe button. I mean, not too hard, just a gentle tap should do.